like a wilting wallflower, the night's final hour, the edge of this endless dance floor. Too late I step.
Solitude. This is a novel with two parallel narratives, a historical narrative and a contemporary narrative. And the contemporary story features a man called Jack, who is an extremely solitary man. He lives alone in the house that he grew up in. He's never really been in a relationship. He's not married. And he experiences his solitude not as loneliness, but as lonesomeness. He thinks of it not as a kind of suffering, but as a kind of longing. He feels these pangs of longing, of regret and desire, and those make up part of his creative character and are very much part of the musical side of his character. Amitié. Jack is a solitary character, but during the course of this novel, he experiences friendship almost by accident. It's thrust upon him. It arrives quite literally on his doorstep. And so over the course of a summer during this story, we see him change as a character. We see him changed by the arrival of other people and other creatures too. Océan. The book is mostly set in the Shetland Islands, which is where I grew up, to the north of Scotland. But it begins and ends on the sea. It begins in the South Atlantic with Jack's father, Sonny, who is a whaler in the late 1950s. Like many men from Shetland, he went whaling. The book also ends on the sea, and so in a sense, like an island, this story is surrounded by water. Musique. One of the key parts of this novel is music, and specifically country music. Country music is what Jack loves to listen to play, to sing, and to write. This is where his emotional expression happens, through songwriting. He has this rich emotional life through music. And the culture of country music, for me, is something really interesting and important in the culture of Shetland, and surprising too, I think. And songs that Jack writes appear in this novel as handwritten lyrics, and you can also listen to these songs alongside the story. Destin. Part of what this story is about is what happens to people through the choices they make and the choices that they don't make. Jack is a character who has spent his life almost not making choices. He's allowed himself to be carried by the current of life, I suppose, and we see what happens to him because of that. But Jack's parents too, and in particular his father, Sonny, are affected by fate, and the ending of this story carries this sort of idea of fate incurred by what happens at the beginning of the story.
Didn't mean to be so cruel, but I wasn't strong enough to stay. There's years behind me now, a long forgotten way. I've lost more than I ever knew. price I've got to pay. When I lie in my bed, when I tremble and stir, when I talk